Hello, and on this episode of The Consumer, we will be talking about my consumption of the TV show Upload, an Amazon original. This is a dystopian romantic comedy set place in a futuristic world where when you die, you can put your mind inside of a digital body in what they call a digital retirement home. Let's go ahead and get started with the masculine feminine scale. I would say this is a little bit more on the feminine side since the overarching story is a romantic comedy between this character here and this character here. She works as an agent that works for a corporation that hosts the retirement community for the dead people, and this guy was killed by a robotic car in an assassination. Between light and serious, this is mostly a light show. It's a comedy, a little bit of dystopian future in there. It is quite funny, and I did enjoy it. Whether it is serialized or procedural, it is serialized. There is no procedural elements to it. I would say you have to watch this primarily in the foreground to get the full enjoyment. This isn't really a background show because there's little visual things that you have to see to enjoy, like pop-up ads in the retirement community and little glitches and stuff. So if you're not looking directly at the screen, you're going to miss some pretty good qualities within the show. So if you like to play video games or do something else while the TV's on, pick a different consumable product. All right, the woke and normal scale. I would say this is a 2 on the woke scale. It's mostly a normal show. There's only one time that I saw that it was overtly woke. There's a child who died as a kid and went to the retirement home as a kid, and he's lived there for 18 years, but he's still stuck in a child's body. He wants to grow up, so he gets an illegal hack to make his body age faster and grow up. But on this hack, it's a female body hack and not a male body hack. So he wakes up the next morning as a full-grown adult, but the little boy is now a full-grown female. And then it's like perfectly normal show, and then the show stops. The propaganda hits in, and they hit like a 3-sentence line. Oh, well, we can revert your body back, but if this is how you truly feel on the inside, we can keep it. It's like, we agree with the current thing. It's not that intrusive, but it's kind of similar to the Avengers Infinity War. Perfectly normal movie, and then all of a sudden you're in a support group with a forced gay character scene. Not quite as atrocious as that, but it kind of like, if you maybe you have to be looking for it, but you just notice the wokeness in that one little scene, basically for them to say, we agree with the current thing. Moving on. This is mostly a campy show. There's very little pretentiousness to it. So I'd put it 9 campy, 0 pretentious. Let's go with the feels of the show. You're going to be feeling happy and laughing. This is a funny show. It's got a lot of really good comedy bits to it. I think it hits pretty well with its comedy. After that, it is a rom-com. You're gonna, if you don't like any aspect of rom-coms, this isn't for you. I'm kind of okay with rom-coms if it's set up kind of nicely. It's set in a bit of a dystopian future where everyone's addicted to their phones, everything is digital, corporations are evil and taking care of the entire world and their image of corporate greed. And then there's a little bit of an investigation within it. So almost Sherlock Holmesian type of investigation, because this guy was assassinated and he's trying to find out who assassinated him. So let's move on to the similar consumables. It's kind of like Black Mirror. It's a little bit like a rom-com Black Mirror. So let's take a generic romantic comedy, splash in a little Black Mirror, splash in a little Brave New World, a little Ready Player One, and you have Upload. Now, some of the lows of the show, I would say it can be a bit cheesy on the romance. Let me see a specific example. It's like everything is kind of almost like serendipitous, but in an inconvenient way. Like these two want to be with each other, but there's just little things that prevent them from being with each other. Like the fact that he's dead and she's alive and he has a girlfriend and a bunch of stuff like that. And a lot of it doesn't make sense. Like, for instance, she works at this facility and she knows all about it, and there has different plans. The guy who dies is on an expensive plan, so he has unlimited data. But at some point, he goes down to a lower plan, so he only has 2 gigabytes in his retirement home. So once he uses his data, his afterlife body freezes. She knows he's in 2 gig, and she's using a bunch of his gigs to talk to him, so she says some shit and expects him to respond, but he's run out of data, so he doesn't respond. And she gets mad at him, and then it's kind of like, oh, we're over now. But she should know perfectly well that he's in the 2 gig and that he's run out of data. But it's just like, I would put plot convenience. Holy shit, I spelled convenience right. Look at that. And another negative is just rom-com-ish. It's just got a lot of like rom-com elements, which if that's your thing, you're gonna love it. It's not so much my thing. I like things a little more on the masculine scale. Not so much my things. Highlights. This has a very unique world. I guess I can't really say a very unique world when, Brave New World had a similar world and it was written way before this show came out, and same with Ready Player One. But still, it's a futuristic world, and there's aspects of the world that are very realistic. So in this afterlife retirement home, there's pop-up ads. So you're just living your retirement home. It's all virtual. You have your virtual body, and like a Taco Bell ad will pop up, and then you have to listen to this Taco Bell ad. And I think that's brilliant, because if a corporation did have an afterlife which you can subscribe to, they would put fucking ads in it. There's no doubt about it. And a lot of that is funny. That's a big high of the show. It's a funny show. Well worth watching. And I would say it's realistically unrealistic. Realistically unrealistic. So it lives in an unrealistic world, but within that unrealistic world, it's a bit real. So, for instance, there's self-driving cars, and they never crash, except for the one that crashed to kill this guy. And it was used as an assassination tool, and if self-driving cars ever become an actual thing, then the odds of them being used in assassination attempts they exist. So that's part of the realistic. And then, as I mentioned before, in the afterlife, there's a lot of things in there that are very realistic to how this corporate world works. They try to upsell you on products when you're living in your world. You can like change the color. Think of it like video game skins. You're living in this afterlife, this digital afterlife, and there's constantly trying to sell you video game skins. And then other people get the skins, and it kind of incentivizes you to get these skins. And then for couples, they release a digital baby. So in your afterlife, you can have a digital baby and raise a digital baby. Bunch of weird shit like that to like nickel and dime the retirement community. My overall thoughts of the show is it is a clever, futuristic rom-com. I'd say it's perfect for watching with a bedroom friend. I watched it with my bedroom friend, and we enjoyed it. Overall score. This is a bit tough. I would say if you like rom-coms and like dystopian futures, you're probably getting a 90. I'm going down to I'll go to an 81. I'm going to put this as an 81. This is probably better than 81% of the TV shows that are out there, especially ones that are released nowadays. It might even be higher if we're just counting new shows. But overall, I put it as 81. This is a recommended consumable by me. Now go consume.